What if I told you there was a perk in Cold War zombies that nobody wanted to return, but it returned anyway? And today, we are going to be talking about every single reason why that perk is so bad. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, that perk is none other than Tombstone Soda. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Shay Plays Zombies, and welcome to today's video where we'll be talking about all the pros and cons of Tombstone Soda itself. Now, I'm going to give you some insights about what Tombstone actually is first before we actually get into the pros and cons. Tombstone Soda is a Coca-Cola introduced in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 in the Zombies section green one in Transit and Town. For 2,000 points, the player was allowed to drop a Tombstone power-up while down when they are holding the use button, or so it would be X or Square, whatever it is, on PlayStation, computer, or PC, whatever, Xbox. If you want to call it computer or PC, I don't care. But yeah, allowed to drop a Tombstone power-up while down when they're holding the use button, killing the player in the process and not allowing anyone to revive them. When the player spawns in the next round, if the player is to grab the Tombstone power-up, they will receive the perks except Tombstone Soda itself. And guns possessed before going down. The Tombstone will disappear if not taken within approximately 90 seconds after the player has respawned. However, if a player has Tombstone Soda and is downed, once being revived by a teammate, all of the perks, including Tombstone Soda itself, will disappear. Only the weapons remain available. The colour of the Coca-Cola drink is dark purple, while the icon is a gravestone with RIP written on it. Quite ironic because it's Tombstone. Pretty simple stuff. It is worth noting that only the player who had the perk can pick up the Tombstone drop themselves. So, for example, if you go down and you not kill yourself, but if you die fully, a teammate can't pick up your items. Only you can. So in Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Tombstone Soda is not available when playing solo. Now, here's where it gets interesting. In Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, the perk returned, which people were not very happy about. But they wasn't optimistic. They feel, okay, Tombstone's back. We could have some differentiation, if that's a word. Well, difference, I should say, in the actual perk itself. But in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, the perk turned the player into a shadow in the dark ether, armed with weapons when downed, allowing the player to revive themselves, similar to the perk Who's Who. So they've kind of combined two perks into one. When upgraded to Tier 1, it allows the player to regenerate health while in shadow form. And at Tier 2, it increases the player's down duration to 60 seconds. And you're like, okay, that could be useful. That could be useful. At Tier 3, the perk allows the player a Tombstone stash upon death, which allows the player to recover their weapons, equipment, and resources. So you've got to think here. You buy the Tombstone perk, and the actual Tombstone aspect of it doesn't happen until you upgrade the perk to its actual full potential tier, which doesn't really make any sense. The machine has been redesigned slightly in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, where it now features a winged skull read in various parts of the machine and a gold outline, as well as various gold swirls across the machine's exterior. The spot where the beverage is dispensed is now also moved to the right, with the drinks being displayed to the left. It is also now like every other Coca-Cola machine in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, fitted to dispense cans rather than glass bottles. And you personally think, for me as a personal customization type of player who likes, I like having my weapons look quite nice. I like the camera. I like having certain cameras that make my gun look nice. And going from glass bottles to cans, I think it's better. The bottles look better, but we're gonna get used to it because it's the first time to use cans. We use bottles all over the years. In the locations of Tombstone. In Transit and multiplayer only, it is located inside the power station after the power is turned on and drawn over by a turbine. Town Survival multiplayer only, located on the street leading to the mystery box spawn in Double Attack Route Tier 2. Well, that's not Cold War, that's Black Ops 2. We don't really need to worry about that right now. On Die Maschine, which is the first map added onto Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, it can only be obtained from the Wundervis machine, where the fridge is on the top balcony. In Fire by Z, it's in a corner near the helipad, you can't miss it. It's the first perk you see when you enter the teleporter. Now, we've got to take an account of how bad this perk can actually be on solo. Now, here's the thing. I've said now twice, now 3 times, Jesus. You've got to be realistic here. Tombstone Soda is not going to help you on Tier 3 if you are a solo player. If you're a solo player and you're going for high rounds and you accidentally go down, but you want to keep all your stuff, but obviously it can help you in certain areas. But if you want the Tombstone aspect, I'm sorry, but Tombstone is just not the perk for you. It should not be available. Because on Tombstone, the way it works is, if you go down for tier 1 and tier 2, you can revive yourself and it doesn't act as a self-revive. So if you have a self-revive made and you have Tombstone, if you go into Tombstone Shadow, it won't use your self-revive. You do not have to worry about that at all. But on solo, if you take Tombstone, if you die, you die. If you have Tombstone and you fail the Shadow and you don't revive yourself, you die. You can't use your self-revive. That's it. Game over. So that kind of deters the point of the tier 3 upgrade. Where they should really change it so it's multiplayer only in like the brackets. Because you can't drop a Tombstone upon death on solo. Because you can't die and come back. Which is really a pointless add if you ask me. Because it's more of a multiplayer only type of perk. Yeah, sure, you can use the shadow, so when you go down, you hold the Y button and you can pick yourself up if you don't use your self-revive. But let's be honest, you're going to be getting a lot more points easier than you are salvage. But I just think personally for me, and a lot of solo players out there, I know I'm going to video of me co-op, but I am a solo player most of the time. I'm never ever going to pick up Tombstone. I'm going to pick it up, but on very rare occasions. Like, if I'm doing the final boss fight on Fire by Sea, I will pick up Tombstone and I will make a self-revive. Because I know, in worst case scenario, I can just get myself up as a self-revive, and if I don't have enough to craft a self-revive, I can just use Tombstone and risk the chance of getting myself up and getting all my perks and all of that. And so that I'm quickly up and I can have a second chance. Or, at this rate, a third chance. We've got to compare as well that Treyarch actually took one of the worst perks in Call of Duty history and put it back into their game when nobody wanted it. And he's then combined Who's Who into it. If you don't know what Who's Who is a perk of Cola in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 with the same map that came up with Tombstone. That was the only two new perks in the Zombies game mode. First introduced in Die Rise. Oh god, here we go. It costs 2,000 points. The perk allows players to revive themselves after they are downed. If downed, the player will take control of a doppelganger that can be used to revive the player's down character, or any other down player in the match. Exactly what happens when you go into Tombstone Shadow now. If players successfully revive themselves, or if another player revives them, they will keep all perks and equipment they had before they got downed apart from Who's Who. Similar to Tombstone, similar to what we got now, other than the perks do go down after a certain amount of time if you don't get yourself up. If the player does not revive themselves before they bleed out, but is still alive as the doppelganger, they will become the doppelganger, but will lose all perks and equipment, leaving them only with the M1911. Perks and weapons can be bought while playing as a doppelganger. The double will spawn close to, but not near enough to see the player's body, and will only have a 1911 if both the original players as well as the clone are down simultaneously. Then their teammates will need to revive both in order to revive the down player. In solo mode, however, being down as the doppelganger counts the death of a player, thus ending the game. In case of the player's body being killed in an action such as falling down the elevator shaft or off the map, the player will respawn again in the default spawn room with no perks and a 1911, maintaining their points. So, you can kind of see why this is so similar to Tombstone. And now, Who's Who, this perk is pretty much Who's Who. It's not Tombstone Soda. Which is what Treyarch have really made bad, is they could have just brought it back as Who's Who and called it Who's Who. Because there's no point going to Tombstone Soda. Let's think that you're a hardcore player, and you're one of those players that doesn't want to spend all you are feeling crystals getting the perk. You just want to play classic zombies. So you get no tier 1 jug, no tier 1 quick revive, no tier 1 stamina, no tier 1 speed cola, no tier 1 dead shot, no tier 1 elemental pop, and no tier 1 tombstone as now. There's just there's no point calling it Tombstone Soda. It's just called Who's Who. Which is where Treyarch really need to think about that, because that's a really bad decision. Tombstone Soda does not help you in solo anyway, but it's more of a multiplayer perk. And the fact that they've tried so hard to hype it up, at the end of 2020, they've released this tweet saying that, oh, it's been a hell of a year, RIP 2020, and everyone knew Tombstone Soda was coming back, and then was like, there was mixed emotions. There was, oh yes, Tombstone, there was, oh god, not again, one of the worst perks of all time. And people knew that it's going to be quite a bad perk, because I could not see what kind of upgrades they could do. If they just kept the Tombstone thing as Tombstone and not implemented the Who's Who, I don't think this perk would have ever been touched at all, co-op and solo. So the fact they've had to make differences and add 2 perks into one is really a problem. And you got to think as well. I don't understand when the next, let's say the mule kick comes out next month. I don't see what tier system they can add to mule kick. So they're probably going to add, I don't know, electric cherry into mule kick. So they're adding 2 perks into one. Or we could have Widow's Wine combined with PhD Flopper. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So therefore, Tombstone is not that helpful. It's kind of helpful on multiplayer. You're just calling it a different perk when it's not that perk. You need to upgrade it to get the actual perk itself. You've took away the origin of the perk and what it needs to be. And let's not forget here, Who's Who, originally, they've done one thing with the Who's Who mechanic, which I'm very glad they have done. I know what I've just said about Who's Who, but in Die Rise in Who's Who, when you went down with Who's Who, you only spawned with an M1911, regardless. I know what I just said, but you do spawn with it regardless. There's nothing you can do. And the zombies will still come after you. What they've changed about it in Cold War is, let's say you have a Pack-a-Punch Gallo SA-12. Like, elite, like, not elite, legendary damage, so gold, and you've got a Pack-a-Punch tier 3, and then you go down, you go into Shadow, you will run around the map trying to revive yourself with that loadout, which is perfect. I like that. The zombies will still come after you, but that is completely fine, and I know that I'll be kind of safe, considering that I have this shotgun and my loadout with me, to know that I have a better chance of survival than just running around Die Rise on round 40 with an M19, with an unpacked bunch M1911. So I like that I've done that. And I think I've really explained as much as I can for Tombstone. If you want me to go more in depth and try and find some more points about Tombstone for you, I will. And if you guys want to go follow my Twitter, I'll put it in the description. Want to go follow my Instagram, put it in the description as well. Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it all. And I'll try and get more points if you want more. I can do this for multiple perks if you want. I can do it for Jug, Speed Cola, Quick Revive, all of that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And it really means a lot. And I thank you so much for your time. And maybe we can all teach Treyarch a very bad Tombstone is a perk and hopefully get a better perk in the making soon. So thank you guys for watching. Stay safe out there. And I'll see you guys next time.